Today, we're diving into the WorldCom scandal. And yeah, you read that right, an $11 billion lie. This is one of the most unbelievable stories of corporate fraud in U.S. history, a tale of just massive ambition, a total collapse, and a lie that absolutely rocked Wall Street.
Think about that for a second. This quote is from congressional testimony. They didn't call it a mistake or, bad judgment. They called it a confidence scheme. That's con man talk. It just perfectly sets the stage for the sheer audacity of what we're about to get into.
And there's the number, $11 billion. Let that sink in. We're not just talking about a big fraud here. At the time, this was the biggest accounting fraud in American history. It's a number that's so huge it's honestly kind of hard to even wrap your head around. So you gotta ask, right? How on earth did this happen? How does a company that was the absolute darling of Wall Street become the poster child for corporate crime? Well, it all kicks off with one guy and some seriously huge ambitions.
All right, first up, the rise of the telecom cowboy. Let's talk about how this company blew up and the charismatic, larger-than-life CEO who was running the show.
I mean, the growth was just insane. It literally starts as this tiny company in a Mississippi coffee shop, and then, boom, it's a global behemoth. The CEO, a guy named Bernie Ebbers, had a really simple game plan. Grow, 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 no matter what. He just gobbled up over 30 companies, ending with this massive merger with MCI. And of course, the stock price just went through the roof.
And Ebbers, he really played a part, He had this whole image of being a down-to-earth, frugal boss. I mean, the stories were legendary. He was the kind of guy who would supposedly count the rolls of toilet paper. He was known for penny pinching. And that persona? It worked. It built a ton of trust and made everyone believe the company's success was totally legitimate and well-deserved.
But here's the thing. That whole engine that was driving this crazy growth, the dot-com boom, well, it was about to totally flame out. And that put everybody, especially Ebbers, under an incredible amount of pressure. And man, when things went south, they went south fast. You can just see the stock price, which was the foundation of this whole empire, just cratering as that tech bubble popped. The pressure to prop up that stock price, it became completely and totally unbearable.
So you've got the market crashing, and then, to make things even worse, a monster merger with Sprint gets blocked by regulators. Suddenly, the company that was built on buying other companies couldn't buy anything. They had no way to grow. But Wall Street didn't care. They still demanded those amazing growth numbers, even as the actual business was starting to crumble.
So what do you do when reality doesn't live up to Wall Street's crazy expectations? Well, if you're a WorldCom executive, you just make up a new reality. Let's get into the mechanics of the $11 billion lie.
Okay, to really get this, there's one key term you need to know. Line costs. It sounds complicated, but it's not. Basically, think of it like rent. It's the money WorldCom had to pay other phone companies to use their network. This was a huge daily expense for them, like paying salaries or rent on a building. It ate up a ton of their profit.
So here's the trick. It was as simple as it was illegal. Whenever the company was about to miss its profit goals, they would take billions of dollars of those line cost expenses and just move them. They basically treated a normal, everyday expense like it was a long-term investment, like buying a skyscraper or something. It's an accounting magic trick. And poof, billions in expenses just disappeared from the books, making their profits look amazing.
And you can actually pinpoint the moment the fraud started. An accountant comes to the CFO Scott Sullivan with the real numbers, and they're bad. They're way off what they promised Wall Street. And Sullivan's response was basically, no, we can't report this. He told his team to fix it. That's when the first fake entry was made. The lie was officially born.
But a lie that big, it's bound to leave a trail. And someone inside WorldCom, an auditor, started noticing some very, very strange things in the company's books. Her name was Cynthia Cooper. She was a VP in internal audit, so it was literally her job to check the books. And she started finding these massive accounting entries that just didn't make any sense at all. We're talking huge amounts of money being shuffled around with zero justification.
So this sets up a classic showdown. On one side, you have the powerful CFO, Scott Sullivan, telling Cynthia and her team they're crazy, that they just don't get it. He's trying to block them at every turn. On the other side, you have Cooper's team, who are so worried they start working in secret at night, piecing it all together. They just kept following the money until, bam, they found a $3.8 billion hole. At that point, Cooper knew she couldn't trust her bosses. She went straight to the board's audit committee.
And just like that, the secret was out. And the whole thing, this entire house of cards, just came crashing down. The reckoning was swift, and it was absolutely devastating.
When the dust settled, the total fraud was over $11 billion. The company went bankrupt. At the time, it was the biggest bankruptcy in American history. More than 17,000 people lost their jobs overnight. And the stock? It went from over $60 a share to basically nothing. Lifetimes of savings, pension funds, just gone.
And what happened when the telecom cowboy got hauled in front of Congress? He pleaded the fifth. He refused to answer a single question. You can just imagine the public outrage. It was like pouring gasoline on a fire.
Justice did eventually come, though. The CFO, Scott Sullivan, he cut a deal and got 5 years. But the CEO, Bernie Ebbers, he was convicted on 9 felony counts and sentenced to 25 years in prison. And it wasn't just them. The scandal was the final nail in the coffin for their auditing firm, Arthur Andersen, which was already in deep trouble over the Enron scandal.
So what was the long-term result of all this? A huge piece of legislation called the Sarbanes-Oxley Act. This law fundamentally changed the game for big companies. It put in place way stricter rules for corporate accounting and executive accountability, all designed to make sure something like this could never happen again.
In the end, WorldCom went down in the history books as a lesson in corporate greed and a total failure of oversight. It literally changed the law. But it really leaves you with one big question, doesn't it? It's been over 20 years, and in a world that's even more complex, have we really learned our lesson? Or are we just waiting for the next big lie?